Good evening, everybody. Today is March 10th, and the Board of Commissioners workshop agenda setting meeting is called to order at 5:45. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Black.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Weinstein.
Here.
Commissioner Andrews. Commissioner Douthard.
Present. Madam Mayor, I did get a notice from Commissioner Andrews. He's actually celebrating his mom's 75th birthday, and he's on a cruise in the Caribbean. So,
Well, happy birthday to his mom. We have 2 items so far on the workshop agenda setting meeting for March 24th. First one is legislative update by State Representative Jennifer Webb, and then also security camera system quotes. Do we have anything else to add?
I have 3 different issues. I've been pushing them back. I actually had them to go a couple of months ago, and then we got so much on the agenda, I just put it back. But the first thing is, I'd like to ask the city manager to talk with the zoning, with community development on backyard sheds, the current ordinance, what it explains, because I've had, it was over Christmas, I think it was, that I had some people asking, and it's with regards to accessibility of these little bitty sheds that people have, and disabled people who need to get into these sheds, and I thought it might be something that we should discuss as a group.
okay.
Okay? And then the second item also was the dog park. I don't know that we've ever discussed our dog park, which is a great addition, and people really enjoy it. But we got more and more and more furry friends than we've probably ever had. And I think it was during some festival, I was here, and it was also during a softball tournament of some kind, and the balls were going all in the dog park. I don't know if anybody's ever complained about that before, but I'd like to ask the staff to do some kind of a study. Maybe they can identify if we can have another dog park, okay, relocate it, or leave that one as it is, and maybe put some kind of a...
I was thinking of nets over it.
Yeah, some kind of nets over it. Or maybe even identify other areas of the city that we might be able to have another one, because that one stays so full. I think it's great that it does, that everybody likes it. But I wanted to bring it up before we start on our budget things, because I thought if we get a feel for it and know if we want it or not, then we'd know that was one of the things we either wanted to, that the group wanted to include, in the budget or not include in the budget, okay? And then the third thing was the situation on 150th Avenue. At first, I wanted the traffic study. I really thought I was going to wait, or thought I would suggest to the commission that we could discuss this after the Cambria was finished, that first hotel. But it's not finished yet, and after that hotel gets finished, it's just going to be another one, and and then the condominiums and everything. And I think that we just need to get somehow back on track with the Department of Transportation, with the Florida Department of Transportation, and try and get some kind of a dialogue at least started. Know where, well, we've just got to get some answers, okay? And I know it's, heavy seasonal time right now, but it's just not going to get any better I can't see that situation getting better at all. And it's dangerous, and it just keeps getting worse, and I walk it and drive it all the time. So I thought, instead of waiting until that hotel is finished, maybe we can start talking, or get at least a meeting set up, and then maybe the commission, if we can discuss it at the next workshop, and say what our priorities are, because there's no staff that was involved, no staff that's currently employed by the city that was involved in those original, all that development. And Vice Mayor Hodges was the only, Vice Mayor Hodges was, of course, on the sitting commission at the time, and I thought it would really be just good, and maybe you can help guide us along a little bit, or for those of us that certainly we're in the city, but we're not part of that, weren't part of it at all. Maybe we can get a trail. We need a trail. We need something. Do y'all agree? We need something that tells us that we need to have continued dialogue with the FDOT, not just about 150th, but with what was really what was designated for East Madeira Avenue, what was designated for Madeira Way, and what was designated for 1st Street East, south from 150th to 147th, because that's just clogging up, just something terrible. I walk it a good bit, and I've just noticed it. It seems like all the cars are going down that way, and they're just doing everything. So I'd like to start that dialogue.
Okay, if I can just clarify it, 150th is a state road, so you started out at mentioning about a traffic study, but you want to start the dialogue with FDOT first, and then, because I don't think we have a current traffic study. I think there was one done probably 2 or 3 years ago by one of the developers. I'm not sure if it was Mr. Carnes or not, but I can check and see the existence of a traffic study, and then we can look at either updating that, but we would have to do it on our own other than, because the other one was done by a developer. And then when you mentioned 1st Street, that's our street. So I don't think FDOT would really be interested in that, but we can have a dialogue on that and get our Public Works Director here. And we did make a change out there with a stop sign over at 1st Street where it meets Madeira Avenue. And that went up, I guess, late, or this morning, I think. It was, so we are making some changes, and we're looking at that and looking at the crosswalks and so forth. But I just want to make sure I understand your request. So 1st Street really would be separate from FDOT, but that area that sits just south of 150th is part of their configuration. We would have to get permission to change that configuration, part of FDOT's configuration.
Okay, and I guess, yeah, I'm not asking for anything first, but to understand why it was done. And I do have also a 2017, it's called a technical review, but I have no idea where I got the thing. I'll be glad to share it with you.
Sure.
It was a technical review, and I don't know who it was done by. So maybe if we could put some of these pieces together, I just think that we need to start some kind of we need to start somewhere on it. Okay? Thank you.
In regards to that, less than a year ago, FDOT did a study on Tom Stewart, and about 4 months ago, they did a study on 150th. We haven't got the results. When they did the study on Tom Stewart, I went to Linda and asked her for a copy, and she said it usually takes 8 to 9 months after they do the study to get a report back from them. So it's been in that time frame for Tom Stewart. It hasn't been in that time frame for 150th, because I know they had the things out down by the VFW about 3 to 4 months ago, and they had some down closer this way about 3 to 4 months ago to do an account.
Okay. Are you talking about Gulf Boulevard?
Yes, they did Gulf Boulevard about 3 or 4 months ago. They did Tom Stewart maybe 9 months ago, 10 months ago, something like that.
Okay, good. I will, when I contact FDOT, I'll see where we are with getting copies of those studies that were done.
Yeah, because if the study, okay, the only other point I want to make is, if the study included some type of an analysis for 1st Street East or East Madeira, even though they're city streets, okay,
Right.
then we need to know that too.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I would like to get some information on the crosswalk on Tom Stewart. They've put it in. They do not have the button to push yet for people to flash. But they keep the green light up there, so cars are blowing by there, and people, a lot of people have contacted me and said it's really scary trying to cross right there by Madeira Way with that crosswalk there, because there's no stop signs for that, and that overhead light is just staying green constantly. It's not changing. So that light needs to be turned off, and we need to get the other thing up and flashing. Also, I read somewhere, and I do not know if it's true or not, but our flashing lights for the walkovers are all amber in color. They're changing it. The state, I think, is changing it to all red. They're not changing it.
I understand it didn't pass.
Oh, it didn't pass?
Randy Fines, a representative that's over on the East Coast in Brevard County, and he came up with legislation. They did have a death of a high school student that was using a similar crossing over on A1A in Satellite Beach. and he took that to be, hey, if it was red, it wouldn't have happened. The problem is with the logic, red it means stop. So, with the caution, you stop while there's somebody in the crosswalk, but you don't have to remain stopped while the caution light cycles out. So that's why everybody checks to make sure that the crosswalk is clear before they proceed out again. But red is always meant stop. It's in our driver's handbooks back from when I took the exam. And, so it really went against where they were headed. Now, I don't know if that's why it didn't make it to the full House and Senate, but I'll look into that and see. So, but I believe this is the last week, and I heard don't expect anything else out of them except the appropriations. So we're still hoping to get our appropriations for the roadway project and our groins. So, Madam Mayor, I did have something I wanted to present on the agenda for the security cameras. We're going to talk tonight about having a special meeting before the workshop. And I'd kind of like to put that on the special meeting since we've already talked about the need for the cameras. We did come up with a bid that we can piggyback on, and so I'd like to have that opportunity to bring that at the special meeting beforehand, and the clerk will speak about the request for the special meeting as we get into our reports at the end of this meeting. But so if you can take that off the workshop, but I would like to replace it. We have on our agenda a resolution tonight for changing the speed zone for boats near Crystal Island, and there's a corresponding ordinance change that has to be made, and I'd like to make those changes in the ordinance and present that at the workshop so then we can vote on it in April and in May. So I don't have an ordinance number yet because I haven't sat down with the clerk to do that as yet.
Okay. Does anybody else have something to add to the workshop agenda? All right. 5:57, and we are adjourned. Good evening, everybody. Today is March 10th, and the Board of Commissioners meeting is called to order at 6:01. Will Vice Mayor please lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I will. Our Heavenly Father, send down your blessings on this meeting of the Board of Commissioners and upon the individual members who comprise it. Give the Board of Commission a clear sense of duty and lead them to a faithful discharge of the same. Direct them in their deliberations at this meeting so that all things may be done to the glory of thy name and the welfare of the people of Madeira Beach. Amen. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will City Clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Black,
Present.
Vice Mayor Hodges,
Here.
Commissioner Weinstein,
Here.
Commissioner Downard.
Present.
Let the record show that Commissioner Andrews is absent.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes?
I'd like to make a couple changes. C, the award of the RFP and contract for construction and installation of the generator structure. I'd like to take that to the workshop so we can discuss that there. It has not come before us. We need to talk about that.
Okay.
And D, also the RFP for city attorney professional legal services. Reading through it, I just found a lot of contradictions in that, and I would like to take that to the workshop also and talk through it.
Do we have a consensus to put that on the workshop?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Anybody have anything else to add or change on the agenda?
I do. I'd like to ask if, let's just start at the front. Under the approval of minutes on the, under the consent agenda, for the minutes of, special meeting minutes of December the 17th, it's where the pump deal was talked about with the marina, and I'd like to know if City Clerk would just please add in there. I looked at the live streaming, and it didn't show under the live streaming the amount that the grant was for, but I showed the total cost of $17,873.24, and the actual, going all the way back, to Brian Crabtree's grant proposal, that thing. And then the actual cost to the city out of that $17,000 was to be $4,468.31. And I'm sure that you'll want to clarify that and just make sure that I was right on that. And if you'll put that in those December the 17th minutes, since it was a vote, yeah, and it was money, and it was a vote. And under the consent agenda, I do have one question, and I don't know if it can be answered, but maybe it can be contingent on, or maybe since Mr. Ahrens is here tonight. We have a subject, and it's with regards to the approval of the purchase of banners or a permanent sign for Johns Pass Bridge, okay, under item F. And all my question is then we go to unfinished business, and we talk about that ordinance of signs, and signs that are official, and it specifically says under that section 102-147 on the fourth line to clarify regulation of ground or pole mounted signs, and I want to make sure that one doesn't interfere with the other one, since it is a pole mounted sign. I just want to make sure that it's clear, does this ordinance, I guess my question is, does this ordinance have any effect on the approval of that?
My understanding, there's an exemption for the city. So
Oh, okay.
in the underlying language, it's already in the ordinance. Oh, there's Linda. Can I phone a friend? Okay. Ms. Portel, we're talking about the sign ordinance versus the signs on the bridge. Was I correct in what I said? Well, I
Yes,
just-
there are exemptions for the city because it's a public service and emergency management feature.
Okay, thank you.
Then I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the changes talked about.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Was that Vice Mayor that said second?
Yes, it was me.
Commissioner Douthat,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinstein,
Yes,
Mayor Black.
Yes. Next, we have unfinished business, ordinance 2020-02. Linda Portel? Director Portel?
gather all your stuff up again.
And just for the commission's benefit, we had some situations with the language in the header when this was first approved under first reading. So this is the second time the first reading's behind. And before Linda starts, I'd like to have the clerk read the heading, if you don't mind.
Ordinance number 2020-02, an ordinance of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending City of Madeira Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 102, Signs, Section 102-1, Purpose, addressing environmental impacts, Section 102-5, Signs specifically prohibited, addressing lit signs in the conservation zone, Section 102-147, signs area to clarify regulation of ground or pole mounted signs, and Section 102-191, electronic reader boards, wall marquees, canopy, awnings, and mansard signs to provide a minimum sign standard for small frontage uses, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an immediate effective date.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. As Mr. Daniels said, you've actually already voted on this, but we didn't read the proper title ahead of the discussion. So this was a matter of getting some cleanup done for the sign code, some things that had gone missing when it was approved last time, making a distinction between the ground-mounted and the pole-mounted signs, providing for a minimum size signage that's allowed for small businesses, because the way we measure it is based on their frontage, and there was originally intended to be a specific minimum that's allowed to everyone, and for some reason it came out of the code as it was being amended last time. And other than that, just some cleanup here and there.
Any discussion from the commission?
No.
Okay.
Mayor, you didn't do public comment.
I'm getting ready to do that now.
Okay.
Discussions first.
No, I meant,
Ray Kerr, 583 Johns Pass Avenue. First, I'd like to commend the city manager for staying with this topic. It began prior to his employee, so I commend that and thank you. The subject about enforcement, I personally met with the Sheriff's Department and the Sergeant of the Marine Unit when speaking of the issue, and their response was, we can't enforce anything because there is no ordinance, there is no law against what is going on. So it's kind of a catch-22. They can enforce it, the FWC can enforce it if the ordinance is there, if the law is there. So, again, I commend everyone for staying on top of this. I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? Floor is now closed. Any More discussion from the board?
No, it's just been a long time coming, and we did, years ago, we did have this ordinance on the books, not this resolution exactly, but we did have the full no wake, and throughout the years, it was just diminished until it is to the point where it is now. So I'm very happy as well that it will be resurrected.
I'll make a motion that we pass Resolution 2020-02, reduction in marine speed limits on Crystal Island. Is it on Crystal Island or the Crystal Island area?
It's officially requested.
Okay. And the water off Crystal Island.
Right. Well, it's the minimum wake on the waterways of the city that are not in the Johns Pass Channel. That's the important thing. It's, you know, the ones that are in the channel are actually different, or in the channel of the Intercoastal Waterway. So I will certainly second that motion.
Will City Clerk please call the roll?
First, I'd like to read the heading of the resolution. Resolution 2020-02, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners for the City of Madeira Beach, Pinellas County, Florida, requesting the reduction of the marine speed limit on the south side of Crystal Island near the Intracoastal Waterway. It is best if I read the titles before we do any discussion on these. Commissioner Downthard,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinstein,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Hodges,
Yes.
Mayor Black.
Yes. Next, we have Resolution 2020-03. Would you like to read that resolution, Clerk?
Resolution 2020-03, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners for the City of Madeira Beach, Pinellas County, Florida, amending the budget for the fiscal year 2020, beginning October 1, 2019 through September 30, 2020, by increasing the general fund, building and stormwater fund budgetary appropriations, and providing for an effective date.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, again, we discussed this at the February 25th workshop, and I went line by line. The Exhibit A basically lists 7 adjustments. The first 2 relate to the FDOT resurfacing of Gulf Boulevard. That was increased by $100,000 by FDOT, and we are increasing, the first entry is increasing revenue, and then the second entry is the appropriate expenditure. The Crystal Island Bridge, we had by the way, I will say this, the FDOT resurfacing project is a pass-through project, so anything that we do spend, we do get reimbursed for that. The Crystal Island Bridge, we had a final payment that came in at $11,800, and there's a budget amendment for the clerk's office for $6,350 for a scanning project. Recreation, where we're putting donated funds that were collected from the Veterans Boat Parade in the expenditure line item for the rec center. And then the second to last is for building fund for professional services for safe built inspection support due to additional projects. And the last one is stormwater. And this was an item that was approved by the board on January 30th to increase the stormwater fund expenditures for construction administrative services for the Crystal Island project.
Thank you.
Well, we've discussed all of these before, and it's putting of the money in the right, in the right category, okay? Just transferring.
Floor is open for public comment on this item. Floor is closed. Any more discussion from the board? Or a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve the Resolution 2020-03, the budget amendment for the beginning October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020.
We have a second?
Something didn't sound right. Say that again, Debbie. Something didn't sound right when you did your,
He's asking you to restate the motion.
restate the motion, please.
I move to approve Resolution 2020-03, mid-year budget amendment for fiscal year 2020, and that is providing for the, or amending the budget for the fiscal year 2020, beginning October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020.
So that's for the whole year. This is just the mid-year we're doing. That's what I don't understand.
It's a mid-year budget amendment for the 7 entries as outlined in Exhibit A.
Okay, and I'll second. Didn't sound right.
Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Weinstein,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Downthard,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hodges,
Yes.
Mayor Blank.
Yes. Next item is a public hearing to consider a request by Madeira Beach Development for alcoholic beverage permit.
As this is a quasi-judicial hearing, anyone who'll testify will be placed under oath, and then we'll do ex parte communications. If you've talked to anyone from the public or the applicant, you can disclose that. Linda, do you want to swear in any speakers? Or I'll swear you all in. Is there anyone else that's going to speak on this item? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Are there any ex parte disclosures from the commissioners, and meaning have you talked to anyone about this
No.
application?
No.
No.
Let the record reflect there's been no disclosure, no one spoke to anyone.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, this is a petition for, or a public hearing to consider the request by Madeira Beach Development for alcoholic beverage establishment, and this is for Slow Roasted located at 209 Boardwalk Place East in Madeira Beach in the Pass. As you know, when considering the alcoholic beverage establishment permits, you have several findings that you need to make that the petition is in keeping with the principles outlined in section 110-500 through 110-59. I will go over those. The first is the extent to which the location and the extent to which the proposed alcoholic beverage request will adversely affect the character of the existing neighborhood. As you know, the request to change is in the permitted uses in the C2 Johns Pass Marine Commercial Zoning District, and the establishment is in Johns Pass itself, which is a major tourist destination, of course. Various other restaurants, bars, and retailers already sell alcohol in the district. The alcohol would be sold within the restaurant, and all activities would be conducted inside the building. Since alcohol is already sold in the district, it will not change the character of the existing neighborhood. Secondly, you must find that the extent to which the traffic generated as a result of the location of the proposed alcoholic beverage request will not create undue congestion or present a safety hazard. In this case, the business is taking a vacant spot. The area is already zoned for this type of use and, in fact, built for it. And what they are doing is actually helping to avoid blight by making sure there's something in every business location. The restaurant is in Johns Pass Village, which is a major tourist destination with many bars and restaurants, and the alcohol will be added to an existing menu and is not expected to generate traffic additional to that of a successful restaurant. Number three, whether or not the proposed use is compatible with the location for which it is proposed. We've already talked about the fact that it's in a district that allows for the use and has historically been used in this way. The district does promote commercial use within tourism, the tourism area. That's one of the obligations we have in the comprehensive plan and in the land development code. It is approved for it is approved for such uses now and for those expected in the future. Additionally, the location meets the distance requirements of Section 110.530 of the Land Development Code, which separates bars by at least 300 feet from property occupied by churches, synagogues, temples, places of religious worship, public or private schools, or instructions for minors, and youth recreation community centers. Fourth, you have to determine whether or not the proposed use will adversely affect public safety. The requested license is not anticipated to adversely affect public safety. The use has been conducted in this area for a long term, and the commercial district is specifically zoned for this type activity. 5, there's no application can be reviewed and approved if there are any outstanding charges, fees, interest, fine, or penalties, and the applicant has no outstanding fines or fees with the city. The staff thereby recommends approval of the petition.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
The city permit application shows the address of 209 Boardwalk Place East, okay? The city permit application. And then the letter from the owner of the property, now he says I'm the owner of 212 Boardwalk Place East. So what is it? Is it 209 or 212?
It's 212.
212?
It is, but Jeff Holmes, there's 3 units in there. I don't know, it's very confusing. There's 2 units below me.
Right.
Jet skis and there's an ice cream shop next to it.
Sir, can I ask you to come
Yeah,
forward
please
to the
come forward.
microphone, identify yourself? I'm assuming you're the applicant, so if you'll please.
I had the pleasure to move here to
You're gonna
Madeira
testify?
Beach with my daughter.
You're going to testify too, you have to do that under oath.
Okay, under oath?
I didn't think you did it before.
No,
Oh, okay,
Did you
No,
do
he
that
did not.
before?
did not.
No, he did not.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes,
Okay, proceed.
yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, that,
If you could start over with your name and address from the beginning.
okay, my name is Gabriel Magera. I live at 8830 140th Street, Seminole, Florida. And I just had the pleasure to move here with my young daughter. We opened this restaurant, you might have heard of it. It's 212 Johns Pass is the address on the lease. Now, there's numbers all over the place that are all varying, 29, 211, 212. The reason I'm requesting this is because I think it'll better our chances of survival in the slower months with this place. You know, we're at the very end of the boardwalk, and people are pretty much full, this and that. I mean, I'm already noticing, it's been suggested to me to get this, and it behooved me to get this, because everybody else has failed in this spot. There's been several people attempting to do business there, and you know, through various reasons, I don't know, but they said, you know, and I'm already noticing people want to sit down and have a glass of wine. You have a beer, you're going to have a beer with these tacos, with this sandwich, blah, blah, blah. All my neighbors do serve beer, Boardwalk Grill, and all the way down the pass. So, I mean, I don't know, I'm just hoping for the best here. We're really laying it out on the line, and I think it'll help our, you know, success, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. It might be a curse. It could be a curse. I don't know. But we're going to find out, hopefully, and I really appreciate you considering this right now, because we got a lot on the line, and I hope you come down there. Slow roasted. It's delicious. You're going to love it. Either way, I thank you for considering the proposal.
Right, thank you. Thank you, that was good. Linda, but I did have, and I certainly agree that the five criteria, the criteria certainly is met. I was just trying to clarify what the application said versus some other information that was with the packet, okay? And so the only other thing I just want to clarify is it, because in one place it states that the consumption is strictly on premises,
Correct.
Okay, and then it says restaurant and package store, which means to me you can buy it and leave the premises with it.
No, not necessarily. We have to include that because it's part of the state's definition of
Okay.
the
That
two
answers it.
COP, and what that means is they can serve a beer that's in its own container. A bottled beer is in a package still.
Okay, it just wasn't clear, it wasn't
Yeah.
consistent in its wording, so thank you for that clarification.
Floor is open for public comment. Floor is closed. Any more discussion from the board? Do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll make the motion to move that the public hearing is accepted to consider the request by Madeira Beach Development for alcoholic beverage use permit ABP 2020-02 for a 2 COP with stated intent to sell liquor, beer, and wine by drink or in sealed containers for consumption on premises at the location, and I'm going to use 212, okay, because that's what it, okay, 212 Boardwalk Place.
I'll second.
Will city clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Weinstein,
Yes,
Vice Mayor Hodges,
Yes.
Commissioner Douthat,
Yes.
Mayor Black.
Yes.
Good luck, sir.
Yes, good luck. And the next item is support of use of pervious pavement. Mr. Aarons?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. I'm here to seek the support and commitment to using pervious pavement based on assuming Swift Mud's approval of the project on April 8th Regional Committee review. I brought this to the committee on the February 25th workshop meeting, and so I'm here if you guys have any additional questions on what that would entail.
Well, then I'll open it for public comment.
As Chuck Dillon, 529 Lillian Drive. I've done some research along with Jamie and Bob as far as the pervious pavements go. I was never really for it before, and however, as I did my research, I found out, well, the Bogosiega project was beneficial because they did indeed pay for half of that project. However, now things are kind of changing.